Well, good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Steve MacLaughlin. We are live here at the NBC Weather Center at about 3:20 p.m. and we wanted to update you on Hurricane Laura. And unfortunately, it is not good news. This storm is turning into a monster. We suspected a couple of days ago that when the National Hurricane Center had landfall at Category 2, they may have been underestimating because the water is so warm and there's no wind shear. In other words, this storm has the perfect environment to explode, and it is bringing back memories of Hurricane Michael when it approached the Gulf Coast about 6 hours before landfall. That storm was Category 4, and then at landfall, it was Category 5. Now, I'm not saying this storm can get to Category 5. I'm just saying what is stopping it. There is that possibility with landfall still about maybe 8 hours away. So let's take a look at the storm right now, and you can see it's about 200 plus miles from Houston, about 172 miles from land if it continues on its current track, and about 200 miles or so from New Orleans, although New Orleans is no longer in the cone of concern. But the satellite picture tells the story. I mean, this is a perfect hurricane as far as meteorologically speaking, and that eye is really vivid. And remember, around the eye, you've got the eye wall. You can see radar. By the way, I know it looks a little lopsided. Just remember, radar doesn't go out as far as satellite. So you're only seeing the north side of the storm right now. First bands of rain now pushing into Texas and Louisiana. But obviously that core just to the south of Louisiana where you see those yellow colors, that's the first really intense hurricane band. And that's just a couple of hours away, even though the eye won't make landfall for another 8 hours or so. These are flood watches, and already we've got tornado warnings, and I think those will continue throughout the night. This is the latest track from the National Hurricane Center. We will get a new track in about maybe 90 minutes from now. But obviously, the question right now is landfall Category 4, or could it be Category 5? Either way, that would happen overnight tonight into very early tomorrow morning. The storm will still be a Category 1 hurricane at 7 a.m. with winds of 85, then a tropical storm Thursday evening with winds of 45. At that point, every model makes it a right-hand turn as a tropical depression or eventually an extratropical low. But this is the same area that was hit by Isaias a few weeks ago. So we're talking about places like Missouri, southern Illinois, Indiana, maybe up toward Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, northern Tennessee, northern Kentucky, even New Jersey could get another tropical system over the next 5 days. By the way, that would be this weekend, Saturday into Sunday. Close-up view, and again, there's your landfall figure. We're talking about east of Galveston and Houston, west of New Orleans, west of Lafayette, Port Arthur, Lake Charles. These are areas that we might be talking about the actual landfall. Now, I can't stress this enough. Landfall does not matter. I mean, it matters as far as the wind goes, right? That's where we have the worst of the hurricane gusts, but it's everything to the east of the eye. So what we call the right front quadrant, that's part of the dirty side of the storm. It's the side that's getting pushed in toward the coast as the storm is making landfall. And that's where we could have this epic storm surge. We are getting reports from local officials down there of a possible 20-foot storm surge. So keep in mind what a 20-foot storm surge means. It means if you're standing on the beach, there would be a wall of water 20 feet high. But of course, water doesn't behave like that, right? It continues to seep in. And there are now reports that this wall of water and then the water ahead of it could go up to 30 miles inland, 30 miles of possible storm surge. The National Weather Service down there was using the term unsurvivable. In other words, for folks that are along the immediate coast, we are talking about a deadly storm surge over the next 24 hours. Let me show you now where we have the warnings. So that red area, that is a hurricane warning. It includes Galveston Bay and parts of Louisiana. On the west and east of that area, we get the tropical storm warning. Luckily, it doesn't include New Orleans, so that's good news. But storm surge, that's going to be the big story with the storm. So we get two areas of concern, the actual eye itself and the eye wall, and then you have everything to the east of the eye. And that's why that storm surge warning goes pretty far to the east. I like that the area around New Orleans, Lake Pontchartrain, has a storm surge watch and not a storm surge warning. That tells us, yes, there could be some surge, but it won't be as bad as the areas in Louisiana to the west of New Orleans. And this is our future tracker model, and you can see the storm spinning away, making landfall. And once it gets inland, it loses its circulation, but there's going to be a lot of rain pushing up toward the mid-Atlantic, the Ohio-Tennessee Valley, and basically the entire Northeast. And then the other thing we're going to be dealing with is this rainfall somewhere right around the track of the storm, maybe just to the east of the eye. We're talking about 15 to 20 inches of rain, but I have to tell you, if this storm slows down at all, there are estimates that it could be a lot more than 15 to 20 inches. So we get the wind around the eye, hurricane force, possibly category 5, but at this point, category 4. You get the storm surge to the east of the eye. It is going to be historic. You get the rainfall around the eye or just east of the eye, a trail of that. And then finally, you get tornadoes in the right front quadrant. So this storm will provide all 4 types of weather. There's some good news, and I have to tell you, if we're trying to find good news, this is a fast-moving storm. So once it makes landfall, it should move up to the north quickly. It won't be like Hurricane Harvey a few years ago that just sat there and spun in place and became a big rainmaker. I think storm surge and the center of the storm, the winds, that's what we're going to be talking about the most. We've got a full newscast coming up at 4 o'clock. Meteorologist Angie Lastman is standing by. She'll guide you through the 4 o'clock hour. I will see you at 5, 6, and 7. Chief Meteorologist John Morales will be on at 11 p.m. tonight. So we've got the whole team here to keep you covered. Obviously, we have no effects of this storm anymore down in South Florida, but we are watching this storm as we would in a storm making landfall in South Florida at this point, because it will be so historic. But for now, I'm meteorologist Steve MacLaughlin. Please stay safe and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.